I am unashamed. What about you?
Well, so we went duck hunting today. We've been noticing that we are averaging one gadwall and a few woodies.
It's better than nothing.
That's what happened. So no matter what we do, no matter where we go, you get one shot at a gadwall, which is a gray duck, and you get a few woodies.
I like the hunting slogan of "It's better than nothing." I mean, that doesn't sound.
Well, look at the
way
morning.
To start this thing off with a bang. Every time I come down here, it's like singing the blues.
Well,
I thought it was Phil. I now found another one.
I'm just telling you what we just
Well,
did.
we started out today. We shot one gadwall.
But I said, a positive is you got 10 ducks. I would be happy.
You know what's crazy? I probably shouldn't say this, but the most positive thing was I ate my first sardines of the year because I ate them during the duck season. Because if you eat them outside of a duck blind, they'll make you gag, like a lot of things.
But they're good for you.
Are they?
They really are.
They don't make
Well,
you
here's what
gag
happened.
in the
Thank
duck
you, oh mother of health.
I
Kay's
read it.
telling us healthy things to eat.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Did you read that in a book?
Here's what
It's
happened.
the Reader's Digest. They're not wrong.
But here's what happened to me when that first sardine hit the bottom. It triggered a reaction that led to a EBM. So
I don't know.
Emergency. Okay, I got BM. I was trying to get the E. I was like,
E is emergency.
exacerbating,
Well, there's no bathrooms.
excruciating.
So I went organic, but there's something kind of cool about just being out in the woods.
Pooping in the woods.
Yeah, pooping in the woods.
What is this?
Welcome.
Well, you
Welcome.
bought my morning. Come on, man. I drove a long way for this.
Welcome.
Al said, "Tell me what you've been doing while you got face
Good
paint."
grief.
So I did it.
Well, as you can see, our unashamed audience, we're sans Phil today. We left him in the duck blind, but we are fortunate to replace him not with one person, but two. We got
It takes two.
It takes two to replace Dad for sure. So we got Miss Kay and we got Willie back in the
What's
Unashamed
up?
zone. So we're glad to have you guys back. So it's kind of our year in. We're at the end of a year, and so I thought we'd have a year in review since Dad's not here to pontificate on
That's too big a word.
And let's just make fun of Phil.
We could do that for.
He'll never
I know
hear
when
it.
he's on his phone later listening to this, he'll appreciate it.
No, he's got it online. He's got it pulled up there.
Yeah, he's
We could say
streaming it.
whatever we want about
Every
Dad.
time
You're
I
right.
use
He's
it,
never
He's
gonna
never
know.
gonna hear it.
He's never gonna know.
Every time
But
I
he-
use a term like that, he's like online. When I got something on the line, I'm reeling it in.
Well, you know what? He does watch these podcasts.
Does
Really?
Yeah, Daniel hooks it up on the iPad and he watches everyone.
So does he really?
He really
Hey,
does.
well,
I cannot wait till the duck blind tomorrow. I'm going to bring that up.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
well, yeah, do
Tell
you
him.
get me in trouble?
So the other day, Will, we were talking on the podcast about he said, I had the eunuch pull up the woman who knows everything on
Alexa.
the computer. So Alexa or Siri, I got to think about it later. It could have been Siri. I don't know.
yeah.
But anyway, he didn't know her name.
He
but
calls her Geraldine or something now. He forgot the name and he just makes one.
he could never access it because he wouldn't know her name. He would just come up with some nickname,
Yeah.
Brainy Woman or whatever. All right, so look, I got to ask you guys about this. This was one of the things I was excited about having both y'all on the podcast. So obviously football is a big deal with us. We've talked about quite a bit on the podcast, and we're sort of at that place, with LSU, which we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I want to know about, Mom, this was your first year in fantasy football, right? You had
Yes.
your own team.
And the first thing I want to say is the man sitting next to me, my son, I beat him.
Well, there's three of us
There's
here.
three of us
Yeah,
here. Okay.
Which one is that?
Which son would that be?
Well,
Go
the
ahead and
one
call
to
him
my
out.
left, Willie, Boss Hog.
Just use
Robertson.
the name. Thank you. Yeah, you did beat me in the regular season.
And you were crushed. Say it like it is.
Well, no, because I made it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Did
And,
you make it, Kay?
I did make it to the playoffs too. sir.
Kay's actually playing for the Super Bowl
Oh,
So do you
are?
know give us
right now.
because
Kay
we're
is-
down to it.
Okay, Kay is she beat little Jase to make it. Two really weak teams. Jay's son was on the strength of Lamar Jackson, who he offered me the first week of trade.
Oh, boy.
And because he had 5
Missed
touchdowns the first week, and I thought, that's a flash in the pan. Yep.
Good call,
You
Will.
rode him all the way to the playoffs.
Bad business.
Back
decision,
up.
But Miss
Mr.
Kay,
CEO.
based on the strength of one Drew Brees, even though she's not a Saints fan,
Shut up. You know I'm a
Drew Brees finished out the year on fire. And then I was beat in a sham by Jason Aldean. Based on the Minnesota Vikings scoring 30 points on their defense is why I went down.
The country music singer.
Yep.
He's in your fantasy football.
He's got Patrick Mahomes, and so I should have beat him. I had a little bit of a down week, but so now Mom is in the Super Bowl. Now,
Really?
Thank you.
now since she's so knowledgeable about football, I want to ask her about some of the questionable moves that you made for this your first ever. You could have won the whole thing. She is currently losing.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Okay.
But I've got a chance tonight.
So in the slot,
Who do you
in the
got?
slot,
Hold on.
she started James Conner, who had 3 points for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
Why would you leave Beasley on the bench? 17 points right there. You would be winning
But
if you'd have
Conner-
played Beasley for
Well,
your Buffalo Bills.
I know the answer, and I'm not even in this league. Do you know that? Not know that?
I know. Well, I
Do you
think
have somebody helping you with this team? 'Cause
Okay, I'm wondering. You're making all these moves, so why would you put?
Well, Connor got hurt in the first quarter.
yes,
I know. My
thank
number
you.
one rule is never play a running back in the slot. Always play the receivers. But you left
My
him.
rule is-
you left him on the bench. 17 points
My
right
rule
there.
is when it's Pittsburgh and you don't have a quarterback, don't start anybody from Pittsburgh. Would be my general. I mean, I'm not in the league, but I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm 71 years old. It's
Thank
my
you.
first time to start. I would like you to find a bunch of 70-something-year-old women that had just started playing fantasy football.
Well, we're just asking the questions, the obvious questions here of who you played.
Well, okay, let me explain this. I do have a silent partner who gives me advice.
Oh, now.
How much are
silent
you paying
partner
him?
made
Yeah,
those
how much
moves.
is your silent partner? Is he getting the take? How much is his part of the rate?
What's the entry fee on this thing, by the way?
It's $40.
40. You got Jason Aldean in it, and it's $40.
I know it's a.
Is Luke
we're
Bryan
playing
in
for
it
more
too?
pride.
Ours is like
No,
60.
he's
Well,
not
Jordan
in-
Summit should have actually beat you, and he auto picked his entire
But-
team.
So how many
Well,
points
thank
do you need?
I did
Which
beat
is
him.
impressive.
That's pretty impressive.
And
How
you
many
didn't.
points do you need to
So-
win tonight?
So
Okay.
here's what she needs. Jason Aldean. Well, you don't even know what you. I'm giving you the information you should know.
How better
Jason
silent
Aldean
partner
has
know?
111 points.
111.
Miss Kay has 91.
Ooh, you're
So
20
Kay,
down.
do the math on that.
20.
Okay, thanks.
Let's go.
But I still have a chance.
She has a chance.
Who she got?
Stephen Diggs for the
Two.
Vikings.
2 touchdowns. He could do it easily.
But he has the Minnesota defense, which single-handedly beat me last week.
You're going to lose.
Now in this league,
Yeah, that's not good.
But you made it
now if
that
the Packers go crazy, the defense can give you negatives. So
Oh, okay.
there is a chance.
So you want Packers to go big tonight?
Packers
We're
need to score
recording on
50
Monday.
points.
Yeah, you need a big
Yeah,
night
I'm-
out of the Packers, and you need your guy to score.
and you need
That's
your
right.
guy to score.
right.
And so
At least
theoretically, the projections right now are that Aldean will finish 116, you will finish 103. In that case, I should have beat Aldean last week. I would have been the Super Bowl champion,
But you didn't.
Bet you didn't.
but I didn't. I was one.
Well, don't be a sore loser.
I lost by 5 points, and
For the first time, and I got in the Super Bowl, I want to hear it.
and
Kay did something impressive. She named, she
Thank-
technically named most of the quarterback. You named all the
I
quarterbacks.
named them all. It didn't have to be because I couldn't pronounce them right. That didn't count.
Okay, if you mispronounce a third of the names, did you really name them?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
She
So I had a
remembered a
little-
loose association of
She
each
said,
team.
"Ask me all the starting
This was
quarterbacks."
last
And
year.
I
in the
did.
NFL. And you did.
And then you tried to trick me and say, and what college did they play at?
Well, I was just saying if you really knew, which you got 0 of them right.
but Kay, you're a Saints fan, right?
Truly.
So what's your thinking on the Saints this year?
Well, I love them.
Grief.
Well, I'm telling
Besides
you.
your love, what are you thinking about their chances?
Yeah.
Their position right now, where they're at, position to strike in the playoffs.
I want them to win the Super Bowl, okay?
Okay.
I don't know why Atlanta beat them. I mean, there's just things you just don't know. And I mean, they started out
Okay,
so
you realize
slow
that
yesterday.
That was about 2
game's
months ago.
over. Yeah, so
meant
now
nothing.
they're in the
They
playoffs.
actually beat them the second time they played them.
Kay's thought on the Saints this year. She loves them and she wants them to win the Super Bowl.
I think that's about all you need to know.
So, do you think they'll close out next week with a victory and end up with the? What are we thinking here? Is there a chance for a 1 seed, or is it going to be 2?
Yeah, because
If
if San Francisco loses and Saints
to
win,
Seattle,
they're 1 seed.
Saints
See, that's
win.
kind of confusing to me.
Because they got the
all
same
that.
record.
She don't care about all that.
I mean, I care that they win the Super Bowl. That's just it.
You know what's weird is I follow football, but if you ask me about LSU, I'd say the same thing.
Well,
I
you
just
know,
want them to win.
you know, I had Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, look, so I've told Daddy all the people I have. So I'm in the kitchen and he starts screaming, "He did it. Your man just did it. Your man did it. Your man's in here. Your man's doing it." And I'm like, "Which man?" Then he told me it was that one. And I said, Great. Just keep up with that. And so he'd keep up with what my man was doing and all the different things. And one of them, I couldn't find his number. I was so mad because he was in and out, you know.
You didn't know his number? You didn't.
I finally found
You
it.
can go to this thing called the internet, and they have rosters.
I don't. No, I only have it on my phone with my secret partner gives it to me every week.
Well, I will give
My
it.
team.
I will give it to Kay. She started out strong, then loses Drew Brees,
That's right.
and so
And never missed a beat.
when she beat my team, they did not have Drew Brees. She started basically the entire Buffalo Bills starting. You played Gore, you played Beasley, and you played their quarterback.
Is Jay
and
Stone
she beat
helping
me.
you?
What?
Is that your secret?
Is Jay
place?
Jay Stone,
helping
your
you?
silent
Because he
partner.
likes the Buffalo Bills as well.
He's got it. He should have played him last.
Can we reveal? Can we reveal for the first time ever on our podcast who your secret partner is, or is that?
Well, I can't tell a lie, so yes, it is. Jason.
It's Jay Stone.
Yeah,
son-in-law.
Cannot lie.
but he
on the
apologized.
podcast.
He apologized every time. Then it was my fault because they were all getting hurt. But I told him, I said, why? It just doesn't make sense to me, some of the people. But we debated on it. And then I told him, I made suggestions too. So it wasn't all just
Okay,
him.
look, that's part of having a team. You got to be able to have a management.
Especially if you have a plethora of ownership. So
Yeah.
See? What does that mean?
Well, as Phil would say, what are we talking about? Since we don't,
Okay, what are you going to do
playing
with
the
the
role
money?
of Phil will be Jason.
What are you going to do with the money?
I was going
if
to
you
give
win.
it to my silent partner.
Oh, well, there you go.
that's what I thought.
So next
It's
year,
just
is Phil
win.
going to join up on your fantasy team? Is he going to
No,
co-partner
he's just going to
with
help
you?
me identify the people and what they're doing. That's his job.
You know what's
Phil
funny
told
is-
me, you know what Phil told me when he thinks about fantasy, anything. You know what that sounds like to him? Sin. Sin.
Well, I
I'm
guess
smelling
that-
immorality,
He did
fantasy.
say that. We were in the dope line. He said, I mean, all these, these people now they're fantasizing over football. I said, Phil, it's not really. That doesn't mean. He said, hey, fantasy football. The cheerleaders on the sideline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I
put
got
it
you.
Immorality, herpes, gonorrhea, syphilis,
chlamydia.
chlamydia.
Oh,
yeah.
please.
Why don't you draft those on your fantasy football team?
Yep, that's a good feeling.
Well, that's why he's not playing. He's a helper, and that's
What's
all
funny
he
is that Will knew it, and he didn't even hear the.
I didn't
you
even-
knew
I
it. You knew it instinctively.
All I got to hear is one word: fantasy.
But I was sitting there telling Phil, yeah, but that's not that, and he just went down his speech that I've heard since I was about 8.
So, Jase, we're enjoying our Black Rifle coffee,
It's good.
which is really, really good.
It's good stuff.
So this is, when they first, the guys at Black Rifle first sent us coffee, they sent us more of their light medium roast, which I think would fit most of America, but it didn't quite work for.
Phil coined a word for that. Yuppies. Yuppie. Coffee for yuppie. I don't know if they can see down in this. Is it possible to get a shot of this? I mean, see that? Mm-hmm. That's
You want it leaving a little bit of a stain on the side of the cup.
Yeah.
To me, that's the purpose. So this particular brew that the Robertson clan is into is their Murdered Out brew.
Which at first that caused me some discomfort.
Well, yeah, because it took you and I were bantering back and forth, and we were like, what does it mean, murdered out? I mean, it sounds really bad.
Yeah.
So our younger brother, Willie, leave it to him. I don't know how you'd know it. But explained to us that murdered out was tinted windows in your truck, so like your truck and mine.
Which I had for a while.
Right. Do you not have it anymore?
Well, I kept getting pulled over by the state police. And even though I had a letter from the governor saying, if you're causing mayhem on the streets because you're a celebrity or you're recognized, they'll give you
like a waiver.
Yeah,
waiver. I have one too.
So I have one. The problem was, by the time they got the word, every time I get pulled over, that's 45 minutes of my life I'll never get back. And so we had a communication issue. So finally I took it off.
Now we know Murdered Out is our tinted windows and our favorite Black Rifle brew because it's super dark, super strong, which is what we like. But if you're not into that, they got everything covered.
Well, I mean, I like the taste of strong coffee, but if you like the feeling that you can run through a wall, I would suggest maybe give it a try.
And look, Black Rifle guys run through walls. We love these guys. It's veteran, military based. All these guys have military background. They have committed to hiring 10,000 veterans for their company as they grow. So I'm all about helping them grow. What about you, Jase?
Yeah. And if you want to drink the Yuppie brand, that's fine.
They got the lighter, the Freedom Roast and all the different, mediums and all the different kinds. So anyway, we want you to sign up. They call it Freedom Phil Coffee, which I really like. You can be a part of the club, which we are, the Black Rifle Club, which they'll send you basically coffee every month, ship it directly to your home, to your office. We're saying wake up to America's coffee, which is Black Rifle Coffee. If you go to blackriflecoffee.com/Phil, that's blackriflecoffee.com/Phil, you're going to get 20% off your first order of any of their coffee products. So that's just what you buy, the coffee club, any of it. So we want you to sign up. There's probably still a few holiday deals hanging around to look at as well. So check these guys out. We definitely recommend, if you're into strong coffee, Murdered Out. Well,
we've all heard it.
Willie has always had he's probably the best mimic in the family. And so he's always been one to take off on Dad's intensity level. Yeah. So one time we were filming the show. This is back when the show was still on. So we're filming at the church. And Willie says, come here, I want you to film something for me. So we're just like messing around. We're waiting while they're setting up a shot or something. So we go in the auditorium at the church. Willie gets in the pulpit and he says, film this. And so I was like, I didn't know what he was doing. So I just held the phone up and I'm filming it. And Willie gets the bulletin from church and reads the bulletin, like all the stuff that's in the bulletin as Phil doing just a.
And it was nothing. It was like potluck
chicken dinner.
Who doesn't like your chicken dinner for crying out loud?
It was pretty funny.
It was hilarious.
Then you started naming the presidents.
You know who else was chicken eating?
And
George Washington.
So anyway,
so
this thing starts floating around the family, and we're laughing. Everybody's hilarious. And that day we're laughing. So Dad finally sees it, and he's laughing at it too. So he looks at Mom like serious, and he said, "Do I really sound like that?" Like he has no idea the intensity level of Phil.
You know where that came from? I showed up. I was a little late to Bible class at church, and so I'm like bumping around what Bible class to go into, and Phil was in the auditorium. I was like, I'll go in here to listen to Phil, and I sat down and he's doing his class, but he's screaming and yelling, but it's not over anything to be screaming and yelling about. And I was reading the bulletin, and then it hit me. I thought, how would Phil sound just reading the bulletin? And that's where the idea came.
I always know Phil's getting excited when he starts making 2-syllable words out of 1-syllable words.
Free. It's free.
Free.
Okay, y'all remember this time we were off somewhere doing the interviews with the people in the morning, some kind of show.
Yeah, well, you want us to fill the gaps? And that was the NBC
that was
Today
Show,
third hour Hoda.
Yes,
Kathie Lee.
Kathie Lee.
and then it's only Phil and Cy, and they're interviewing them, and then Phil goes into that whole thing about
Everybody was there.
No, it was-
Okay,
we
we
were
were all
all
sitting
there.
there.
Okay,
It's something
okay.
that I haven't been able to get out of
So-
my memory. And
for the
Well, I forgot.
she
will
said,
coherently tell it.
She said, how has reality TV changed your life? And Phil said, hey,
no.
if you come down,
No. The question was, so Phil, I hear you have dogs.
Because
Tell
they
us
think
about
that's
your
safe.
dogs, right?
That's like a safe
A
place to
hunting
I don't
go.
remember
Because
the
they're real.
dog.
That
Oh
was
yeah,
the,
that was
the question.
You're
Was
right.
Phil? So you guys work with dogs, right? Thinking it's going to be, we have Labrador Retrievers. They go retrieve.
They're
the
trying to
ducks, and
avoid all the
we
controversy.
love dog. Right. This is a softball, like on a tee. You got the bat,
we got some dogs.
and that was the question.
Let's talk about dogs.
To which Phil replied, "Yeah, Kathie Lee, that's the first line of defense." Which everybody looked like. Now, why would you refer to your dog as the first line of defense? If anyone comes to our property wanting to rape or pillage, specifically remember the rape
Or molest.
or pillage or molest our women, our people, or our stuff, they will be greeted by the barking and gnashing of the teeth of our animals,
And then
followed by a hail of gunfire like no human being has ever seen. It will rain down from the heavens.
And
the
Cy was like
artillery.
amening. Remember? He was like, yeah.
and
that's
Zai's
what-
just getting all like,
amen.
Right, so,
yes.
So I was
That's
getting
right.
really excited about this apocalyptic hail of gunfire. And so Kathie Lee then responds, "Whoa, that got weird." And
she said Bible study just did a U-turn with
You-
Smith and Wesson.
you
Or
do
so
a Bi-
she
and then
tried
Phil
to.
says, Cy says, yeah, if you want a Bible study or a gunfight, Jack, we'll give you either one.
Yeah.
That was
That was
his.
all on the question of, so I hear you work with dogs.
But remember when we got back in the car, and then
Oh,
Willie
my
would
goodness.
start it up, and then we were in another
Well, we were in
place.
2 vehicles.
I
and so-
remember looking back at the publicist who lines all that up, and she was on the floor. She had just lost
She
all.
had curled up in the fetal
Yeah,
position.
she had fallen
with
on
the
the floor.
eye. Remember how big Coda and
Hoda.
Kathy Hoda.
Yeah. I heard somebody in one of their mic ears say, "We need a commercial break."
Oh, break to anything.
Cut. It was
But
live
But
TV.
we did it even when we were on the plane. You know,
Well,
we did,
then all the way home, Willie
We're
was
still talking
We're
about
still
it,
and we're
so,
still
yeah.
talking about it. That was
Yeah.
years ago.
And we're not doing any more morning shows either, so we haven't been invited
for
back.
some reason they quit inviting Dad onto the Today Show.
Well, there's thinking about the audience. I'm not sure of the audience of Kathie Lee and Hoda at 10 o'clock on a weekday morning, but it's probably not the audience that's wanting to hear hail of gunfire, with your
Dogs
dogs biting
attacking.
people's,
Gunfights and Bible
eating
studies.
people's legs. If you're wanting to rape or pillage, like we're Vikings.
We can't even say that now without every one of us laughing. Right?
Well, and Dad got the most tickle when Willie was doing it in the car. I mean, on the plane. Dad was the most tickled.
He
right?
was.
He's kind of kidding. I mean, we're all jokes aside. He's kind of kidding, but not really. But people, if you don't know him and you look at him and you hear this, you're thinking this guy's nuts.
And you
That's
see
right.
his weapon right beside his recliner. So I don't
Yeah.
know that it was really
Basically,
kidding.
the AR is hanging in every
Right.
picture.
But if you
I mean,
tell
just
him,
the thought that somebody's, here to rape and
Yeah.
pillage, like they jumped off a Viking ship off the
Yeah.
the Washita River to come, and we finally found the place we want to get
They
to.
landed up the river.
We landed here. We jumped the gates. We hurled fireballs over the fence. And we're here to rape and pillage Phil Robertson's property. That would be the wrong place to come to for any Norsemen heading down here in North
Just in
Louisiana.
case the Vikings are reintegrating.
and he does now have body armor.
Really?
TMI.
He wears body armor now.
Really?
Well, if he's in a bad situation with all those people that are coming to pillage and rape and do all the women,
So he's got like a Kevlar vest or something
Yeah.
he wears under his
Yeah.
jacket? I didn't know that.
yeah.
Phil's ready.
He's ready.
He's ready.
So they better think.
I hope when I get to that age, I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna wear the Kevlar. You know, like if it happens, it happens. It's a great story. You know, I'll go out on top and took the high road. You know,
I'd be hiding.
I'm not suiting up, you know, and helmeting up just to go to church.
I mean, if I
For my one time a week.
yeah, if I was in the military, okay, on the police force, yeah, but you know, if somebody's just randomly after me, I'm like, what if they shoot me in the head?
You know, I had a realization. Well, we were traveling on the book tour this year that Dad, you know, unless Dan or Mom brings him food from town, he doesn't know what's there because he only comes on Sunday and he's out of there. And so he had his first Chick-fil-A sandwich in an airport just earlier this year. And a spicy chicken sandwich. And I had bought it for him. So he's eating it. And he's halfway through and he looks at me and said, "Oh, that's the best chicken sandwich I ever had." And it was funny because it was like, it was a realization that Chick-fil-A makes a really good spicy chicken sandwich. And I was like, "Have you ever had one before, Dad?" And he said, "I don't think I have." Because Sunday is the only Sunday's the only day he comes to town. So how would he ever know?
I forget that myself. He misses the normal things.
That's what I'm saying.
Kanye was right to write a song about the Chick-fil-A sandwich.
That's right. We
I
talked
didn't know
about
he did
Kanye on our podcast. So look, this is sort of our year in review. So I want you, Willie. So I wanted to talk about, you had the most new additions in the family this year, which was an interest. I mean, it's the whole Robertson family that had the additions, but they all came through your family this year. We had two babies and
expanding,
and a husband.
2 babies and a son-in-law. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That makes
Sadie.
you seem older.
How are they doing, by the way? What's it been?
And the 2
weeks?
babies were not the new son-in-law, so that was separate families. So I'll just to
so
keep
you
that
know.
straight.
You have
Kate.
John Luke and
John Luke and Mary Kate have birthed a child, John Shepherd, who I've nicknamed Baby Squeaky. 'Cause he's got kind of a squeaky cry.
Baby Squeaky.
That was the
and
second.
he'll be that from now on, by the way, because once
yeah.
Willie
the
That's
takes
nickname
Squeaky.
for Zane, which
Yeah,
is
what's
Becca's.
his?
Zane Israel, Rebecca, and John Reeds is the Juju man or the Juju boy, according to how he's acting. And so, and both just got dedicated with a little sprinkling at their other families' churches, and so
That was
we
a
had
little
fun
different.
with that. So I reminded Juju, who's 11 months old, that he, now he's in this new relationship with the Lord. We kept him a couple of nights ago. This is post conversion, right? And
This was like a dedication.
He still got demons in him. I've never. You want to talk about spoiled, rotten. Kid doesn't want to lay down by himself, and so Corey's going to try to hold him, and so we put him down, and I mean, whoa! I mean, it was quite a statement.
So we need to follow up the baptism with an
intensity
exorcism.
of the crying for like 2 hours.
Why don't you get
was
them
impressive.
that book for Christmas, Baby Wise?
Yeah.
No, they're hey.
But
I
it's
told
a
them,
gift.
hey, you can do that. That's fine. You can do it. But when they go over to someone else's house, it's going to be trouble. So but
anywhere in
they're
public.
awesome. They're good. Kid doesn't like to lay down by himself. But we have Juju and Squeaky are in the family.
Do you have a nickname for Christian?
Christian does not.
This
he
is
does
Sadie's
not have
husband, yes.
It's kind of hard to give a guy a nickname that's named Christian.
Well, his name is Christian, and he's from Niceville, Florida. So
He's a Niceville Christian.
I mean,
so
come
the
on.
joke
This
he
is
made
like
about
a-
Niceville, they were actually from.
No,
Niceville.
it's a
he's
town
from
called-
I thought he was
Niceville.
kidding.
His name is Christian.
Ah.
He's the nicest guy ever.
He is
He's a
amazing.
Christian.
Phil
I actually
calls him-
baptized him. I baptized him. Yeah, that's funny. So they
Phil
all had
thinks
this.
he-
They all had this.
he's
All my new ones had this
A
spiritual
lot of water
experience.
stuff.
He says he's a sharp dressed man.
I mean, how does that work? The first time you meet him, they're like, "Here's my guy I want to go out with. His name is Christian, and he's from Niceville."
Yeah.
Did you say no for real?
No, that's what they. Oh, I did give him a nickname for a second. Oh shoot, I'll think of it in a second. But Sadie did not want that one to stay. Oh, Nervous Purvis. That was his he
That's
got
pretty good.
nervous over something, and so I called him Nervous Purvis, and Sadie was like, "Oh no, don't let him hang that one on you, because you'll
So
be
now
wearing that one."
so Will, we talked the first time we recorded the podcast after the wedding. We talked about it, kind of gave our perspective to our audience. But I wanted to know y'all's perspective, because y'all weren't obviously on the podcast, about the wedding itself. Because I won't say what we said, but so what was your take on it? I'll let you go first, because Will had to pay.
Do you
for
remember it?
I'm not that old. I think it's the most beautiful wedding that's ever been here in this town or this parish. I mean, it just tops them all. That's what
from
I
your
think.
perspective.
How many weddings have you been to in this parish?
Well, I don't know, but that's the fanciest one I've ever been to right there.
So
You went to Al's.
Yeah, you went to mine.
yeah, that was
Better than Dad. Dad wasn't
Mine.
there. So, oh yeah, she was. So what was Dad's line on the wedding? Because Mom was worried about Dad. You know, she always worries about whether he's going to come or not. And what was his line?
course it
I
was.
can do anything for an hour and a half. Or
How did you know that?
well, I mean, I
Do
thought
you know
'cause-
what his response was to me when we were leaving? Because he asked me to walk him out, which was really weird. He said, "Can you get me out of here?" Because he couldn't find the way with all the team. He was lost. He was lost.
He was
in
lost.
your backyard.
Lost in my house. Yeah.
He was lost, and he was like, "Can you get me out of here?" And so we're walking out, and he said, "Hey, Jase." I said, yeah. He said, "I think this was a little much."
that's the-
yeah,
the
but he
one-liner
was the one
effect.
that came in and talked to John Foles and about all the food and all that. So
Yeah, he enjoyed it when he
normally-
was there.
He really did.
He just got
love
Which,
it.
by the
panicky.
way, for those of you around the country, Willie's chef that was in charge of the food is one of the most famous Louisiana chefs we have.
He
His
was
name
on
is John
TV
Fox.
for years.
He's
He still
amazing.
is.
He still is.
Oh, he still is.
But I mean, has amazing restaurants. So I mean, like when Willie does something, it's full.
You know,
That
you
was
gave
the
me that
card that I
cookbook
saved, yeah.
that's like this thick. It would
Yeah.
it'd take you like a year to read it.
I've got them all. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's
was one of
incredible.
the probably of all the famous people that I've met. I was probably the most excited by meeting Chef John Foles.
He really is a likable fella.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's not just a good cook. He's
Oh,
a
he-
great
he-
guy.
First time we
Awesome.
met him, Willie, he was up cooking at Willie's house for a
First time
charity thing. you were
Ever
doing.
he's
Yeah.
the first person to ever use my stove.
And then I know he autographed that this.
signed my cabinets.
Yeah.
And I told Corey, and she goes, "Please tell me it was the inside of the cabinet, not the outside," because she knew how excited I was. So, and I
Was
said,
it
"Yeah,
the
it was the
inside?
inside. It was
Yeah,
the
it was in the
inside of the
inside.
cabinet."
Why
Yeah.
not sign the outside? That would so you can
See,
see.
we
it.
would have. I thought that would have been. But
Yeah,
Corey did,
it
yeah.
would have been good.
It was a
at
brand
my
new-
house, not at their.
It was a
house.
brand new kitchen, so yeah, John did. So I called him. I've done a couple of his charity things, and so yeah, that was the card I'd been waiting to play. And he came up, and I thought it was great.
it was incredible.
And the best part was when you and the family started dancing. Tell about that.
Now Mom's interviewing me.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we started dancing.
Go ahead and take it, Mom. You're
Yeah,
in charge
right.
now. Just
Tell me how you felt about that. Okay,
Well,
Have you
How'd
talked to them since?
I can't
Sadie
believe you
and
did.
Yeah.
Christian, yeah, they're at my house right now. So
Really, that's
yeah,
weird.
they are. They're,
No, it's Christmas.
well, they're here till Christmas.
Oh, that's
so.
right.
Jason.
it's Christmas time.
He's
so,
graduating
I was
from
like,
Auburn.
man, they
He's
didn't
at
make
Auburn
him.
University. He's going to go back and finish up. I think he's in business management. So yeah, they just got back from.
Oh, he's at Auburn. That's perfect.
he's
Did
at
you-
Auburn.
Did y'all watch the game together?
That game? No,
LSU.
no, we did not. We did not.
Did you send him a text?
I can't remember.
How can you not do that? I'd
I
have
don't
read
remember
that
the
in.
game, but
Yeah, it was an awesome game.
well,
He and I
I'm
talked
trying to
about
start
it.
the relationship all positive.
Oh, I thought I'd just be.
not just ragging him. Plus, I know how college football goes. You know, that
Well,
stuff
that's
can
true.
turn around real quickly on you. And then
Well, let me tell you
now
something.
you're the guy getting
Yeah,
all the text. And
exactly.
This is our year.
This is the year. But no, as far as the wedding goes, with Phil, so we were going to get Phil to lead a prayer, and then John Howard, my father-in-law, to lead a prayer. So there was some debate over where they should be, and I said, "Well, let's make sure Phil is first." That way, I was panicked he was going to hear something in the wedding that he
Might
felt like
take
he needed
off
to
on.
respond to,
Like
on his
fantasy
prayer
football,
time, right?
yeah.
So something may not have been said quite like he believes or thinks. So I said, just let him right off the bat do it. That way, he doesn't have like, the minister said this and this is totally wrong. And so we decided. Now it ended up being the most perfect situation off a really bad situation because, let's be honest, we spared no expense on this wedding. It was a big
Oh, yeah.
thing, and everything was top notch
Except-
except for one thing, which is very critical, even as we're speaking now, how critical it is: sound.
Yeah.
And so when Phil got the microphone, nothing. And which we were so glad it was Phil because Sadie was really nervous, and then when Phil's like, I don't need a microphone, so Phil starts yelling, which
really
he
was-
likes doing.
Yeah,
and
which
so
it was hard to hear him even with him yelling.
because the venue was so big,
Yeah.
like probably halfway back, nobody from the back half, even with him
But I
yelling.
heard him crank it up.
So
was,
he starts yelling. Well, then Sadie starts laughing, and I was like, "This is perfect."
Yeah,
You know,
'cause
it's
it kinda
perfect
tense.
Now Say's laughing, and we're not on,
Until the sound kicked in.
Yeah, then
Which
the
it
sound
kicked in about
and
half-
then it would
Because
go
Phil,
out.
but did you notice when the sound kicked in, Phil kept hollering.
Oh yeah, Phil's still yelling.
I mean, I thought he was
dogging
like
the sound guy, which I love.
Yeah, he did.
Like these sound
But look,
guys.
he dogged the sound guy in the prayer. So he closed it with a prayer. He's like, Lord, these sound people. He's like, in his prayer. And he's like, I'm not going to yell because I don't know if this thing is coming back on. He's like
that's
doing
hilarious.
a play-by-play in
This is
the
the
prayer.
funniest prayer I've ever
Oh,
heard.
it was,
If a prayer
Jase and
can be funny.
I was sitting next to Jase. We were laughing so hard.
Missy was squeezing me like, keep quiet. And I'm like, my dad
We were
is
shaking the whole time.
literally sending the sound man to hell as we speak.
In the
How
prayer.
can I not
Oh, yeah.
laugh?
Now, what I thought was interesting, Sadie just reminded me of this yesterday because to be honest, I really wasn't paying attention to everything Phil was saying, in the moment because I'm standing there waiting.
some
to,
of it
Yeah,
was
you
too
were up.
different
You were
way,
there. You're
so I
up.
wasn't like locked in on it like from a seat.
Like we were.
But Sadie said, "Well, yeah, I was wondering, Papa Phil, the passage he read was, 'It's better not to marry.'" And I was like, I didn't even pay attention. She goes, "Yeah, it was kind of weird that he led with, well, it's better not to marry if you want to go by the Bible. But hey, if you want to have a big shindig like this and get married, hey, do whatever you're gonna do." So Sadie picked up, even in her nervousness, she picked up on the awkwardness that. I said, well, I don't, yeah.
The verse actually says, but since there's so much immorality,
Oh, yeah.
We're glad we didn't go further.
You know what's weird? After he said this is a little over the top, the sound man comes to me and Phil because I guess he's like, "Hey, those look like a couple of guys of the family," because I had never met him, and he's like, "Hey," and Phil's like, "Yeah, what you got?" He said, "I was the sound man," and Phil went, "Oh." He said, "I just want to apologize, for, that was a debacle." And Phil's like, "Yep, you need to try to figure out something else to do." That's what he said.
he was probably trying to get back in Dad's good graces after Dad sent him to hell during the prayer.
Well, Phil was basically telling him, your career is over. Because there were a lot of people here with
Oh, my
money,
goodness.
and they're never going to hire you.
Yeah, you're
you know?
never. You won't put that on your resume.
Yeah.
But they did get that lined out, which was great.
They did about halfway through it.
Yeah, the rest of it was good. But I tell you, Will, one thing we said about it was not only was it obviously beautiful and all that, but it was one of the most, if not the most, I think it's the most spiritual wedding I've ever been
That's
to.
what I said.
No
start
doubt.
to finish.
Awesome.
Jason and I talked about it, sort of commented on it throughout the whole thing. I love communion. They took communion.
I love what they wrote to each other. It was
Yeah.
very Jesus-centered.
Right.
And you couldn't even, make it up.
Right.
It was so authentic and real.
Yeah.
Well, you know
It's
what
fantastic.
the preacher told Phil is he came up to him and he said, "Number one, when I saw you come in with the Bible," he said, "I thought he brought a Bible to a wedding. That's wonderful." But he told Phil, he said, "I loved your prayer." And
Okay,
he
I'll
said,
take my Bible wherever I go.
I know.
Because we were
Well,
instructed to by Dad.
yeah. And you know what he said? He said, "I loved your words, and I know you're a man that studies the Bible every day." He said, He said, "I just want to tell you that I'm grateful, but I should have known that after knowing the rest of the family."
And by the way, Louis Giglio did it. And so those of you that, know about him know how good he is. But if you don't, Google him because this guy is amazing.
Passion City, Atlanta, Georgia.
He's incredible.
Yeah, he and Sadie and Shelly, his wife, they've been great friends. He's asked her to speak. And actually, next week, right after the big game at the Georgia Dome.
Are you going to go to the game?
I am going to the
Oh,
game.
awesome.
Oh, yeah, I'm going. Right after that, 2 days later, Sadie is actually speaking at Passion at the same place.
And Mom, you're going this year,
Yes.
which is exciting.
I love hearing
yeah, I got my
Sadie speak.
tickets, and I'm going to the game.
So let's talk about
What a
LSU
shock.
a minute because the way this is working out, we're recording on Monday, which will release on Sunday the day after the game. So none of us are, as we're talking about it, we don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. Willie's
I
going to be
think
there.
we know what's going to happen.
Well, I
quit
feel good
doubting-
about it.
I quit doubting LSU at some point this season and just started enjoying it. Now,
And every bit of-
I'm concerned about 22 not playing. Hilaire.
But I've noticed this week there's at least 4 defensive starters for Oklahoma, which already was not the best
I
defense.
saw that. I'm like, for smoking weed? I mean, you potentially going to make millions of dollars. You're playing for a national championship, and
You can't get the drug test in order
can't-
during the
you
playoffs.
can't
I
do
mean,
that.
can we not lay off a week?
I'm trying to figure out where Jase was going. Was it the weed? I thought you were like
Smoking weed.
was it
I
a
thought he was
bad-
gonna say
I thought he was
suspended.
gonna be like, for smoking weed. Come on, man.
Come
I
on,
mean, it's a
everybody
big
smokes
game.
weed.
I'm like, why are you
little help,
smoking
you know?
weed when you know?
Okay, so you're saying
Yeah.
they shouldn't have smoked the weed? Not
Of
it's a bad
course.
rule to smoke the weed.
I realize they're legal.
I didn't know it sounded.
I
It
wasn't
literally
sure
sounded
at
like it was
first.
like for smoking.
I'm
weed.
saying you'll miss out on a national championship or possibly a pro career. I mean, because this does you damage, because now you have character issues. Just because you can't say no in a
For a month.
dorm, with hey man, smoke this. I mean, the rules. I mean, I just
I didn't.
just
I wasn't
can't-
up on this information.
Oh,
I
yeah.
knew some people got
Four of their
suspended. I
guys
didn't know
were
what.
One of them's a
suspended?
starter.
Yeah, 4 of their
Only
starters.
one of
their
them's a
best,
starter,
their best
but-
edge rusher, and now their best cornerback. That was today. Are both out. So
Yeah.
No, for smoking weed.
That's
I don't know about the
that's
second
what
guy.
the internet says. So take that for what it is.
Sooners.
Sooners.
I do love Jalen Hurts.
And before somebody types
Is that
in,
his name?
I'm sure LSU has had players.
Oh,
Hey, Honey
Oh,
Badger
you
got
know.
busted for smoking fake
Oh,
weed.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't even do the real weed. We lost him a whole season over
know.
that.
But I'm saying, what are you doing?
It's funny,
Well,
Jase.
Jace, these kids are in. I mean, I'm not.
I know they're
I'm
in
just
college.
saying these are.
I'm just saying, if your whole
18-year-old
dream, whether you're
kids,
a,
I mean-
believer or not, if your whole dream is to make millions of dollars in the NFL,
Oh,
and
I
there's
still
a
think they're.
small
They'll
list
still
of
make-
rules.
Well, you think they're not going to have
Well,
a chance
look at
now
Ryan
making millions?
Perlew. I mean, he's like the greatest recruit ever. What happened to him?
Did
He's
you know that
stocking shelves somewhere
this
down
year,
there.
for
Not
the
that
first
there's
time-
anything wrong with that?
No, that's good. For the first time ever in the NFL, they just shifted on their substance abuse policy about testing that marijuana's out now. Because there's so many states where it's legal,
Yeah.
so basically they jettison that out of there. So now when they test, that's not part of the test anymore. So I think that's where it's going.
Well, no matter what, I mean, there's going to be rules in college for sure that that you're going to have to abide by. Sorry, guys.
I mean,
I mean, no matter what they are, whether it's showing up on time, whether it's
Right.
and so I appreciate Lincoln Riley and whoever's making those decisions.
Yeah,
Say, hey,
because
we're
that's
gonna
not an
lose
easy
ya.
call. That's
Yeah,
right.
You're
well,
talking
I
about
think
the
it
playoffs
comes
or-
out though. They do a drug test. The drug test is by somebody else. You fail it, oh, you're out.
Well, that's how we lost our linebacker before the Alabama game,
Same
which he's
thing.
trying to come back. But
Well, he can't. I think he's out.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean,
his
'cause
was
same. What was his
Divinity.
name? Yeah,
Divinity.
Devon's out.
Yeah, well, he's been
out.
out for
Oh,
a
he's
few
out.
games,
I thought he
but
was hurt.
no, it's
I don't
because of substance abuse.
Smoking
He
weed
kept
or
who
knows?
every time they would test him, he kept coming up not clean.
So here's the message: kids, stop doing drugs.
Well, of course.
stay in school and stay
Stay
off
in
drugs.
school.
Well,
Come
it makes
on,
you
man.
scared of them going to college.
What,
That's true.
Yeah,
that's
so-
what kept Kay out of college right there. It just scared her too much.
I took 2 courses at Louisiana Tech, and at the end, my teacher called me for a special meeting, and he said, "I want you to know there are so many good
Yeah.
jobs that you don't require a college
And he
degree."
said, "Kay, maybe you should smoke weed. Maybe that's."
No.
So and Jase followed in your footsteps because that's how many college courses you took
Yeah.
was
yeah,
2.
and
took
I paid
2.
for
First
them,
aid and golf.
and he
Well,
didn't even finish them.
I went
that
out
was
there.
The worst.
I
You
went
could
out
have
there
finished.
to share Jesus, but they ran me off first time I tried to do it. And they're like, "You have to be a student." So I took.
Now you had
golf.
just graduated from seminary,
Yeah.
just
Well, you
so the
didn't-
audience.
Why
will know.
didn't you finish it? We paid for it, and you didn't even finish.
Because I was
We
out
paid
there
for it.
sharing Jesus with people. I wasn't worried about.
Yeah, God forbid
home
doing
and-
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you pass bowling and golf and share the
I
gospel?
had
That's
like-
impossible.
I think
So
my 2
let's,
classes were first aid and golf. And
I know, I paid
failed.
for 'em.
I failed both
Jay
of them.
said it was just too much. I mean,
hope there's not an emergency on the golf course. Jase would be like, I took the first week. I don't know what to do after this. So.
You know what? I actually never showed up for a class.
Oh my goodness!
Well, I would be going somewhere and I'd meet somebody, and next thing you know, we're catching frogs down in the pond behind the campus.
But I
see,
never knew that about the 2 classes. I just made that link. So it's funny because you said Jase was the hardest for you to get along with when we were growing up. Is that still a true statement? Is that
Well,
right?
he would say that because he'd say, "I argued with you all the time," but he argued with me. And anyway, he was 3 when he started.
Well, that's really given me a lot of credibility because at that stage, I think you should have taken control.
Well,
They're still arguing.
You're so dominant. Even at 3 years old,
He was a
He
dominant
was a
3-year-old.
dominant 3-year-old. That was the problem.
Hey, plus we were poor, okay? I mean,
Yeah.
We were.
Hey, we were just trying to survive.
That's right.
We needed some courses on conflict resolution,
Well,
anger management.
Yeah, because I'd go in there and wake you up, and then you just said, "Leave me alone." Well, you have to wake up to go to school, and then you'd say, "I have to think about it first," and you'd just sit there and stare for like 15 minutes.
talked
Have you,
about
heard
that.
have you heard of this book called Baby Wise?
I didn't know
I like how
anything
Jase
about
is saying,
that.
well, we needed a course on this and books, and he couldn't make it through golf and first aid in college. So, like, that's impressive, though. Now you're saying,
Well, now
hey, we
he's
need
well
to read
studied.
some books and
That's
take
right.
some courses.
And see, we got that in common. I took them and
Well, that's what I'm
Paid
making
for
a
it.
bond here for you guys.
and I made a D.
Here's-
Probably an
Tell the
F
truth.
What you're
What was your
missing.
classes?
typing and shorthand.
Since this is the name of this podcast is Unashamed, I'm gonna give you a verse that's profound. Since y'all are making fun of my education,
Is this
This
the end
is-
of it? Or you,
No.
we're almost done.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm Acts 4.
He's wrapping this up with a spiritual.
Where's that verse? Acts 4:13. It says, "When they saw the courage of Peter and John," because I've been thinking you're referencing my courage, and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men, they were astonished, and they took note that these men had been with Jesus. That's enough-
Well, I'm
that's
dumb
enough.
too. I couldn't pass either.
I wasn't
So how
reading.
can I be talking about you when I'm saying the same thing about myself?
Well, if we're on the same team here, why are you concluding the point of that is that you're dumb? No, the point of that is
No, I have a PhD in life's experiences and relationships.
that's just a nice way to say you're
no,
dumb.
you're just an older woman, Kay. That's
That
But now, well, let's go ahead and give it to Al too. Al, sadly, is what you guys couldn't do, like 2 classes. He's 2 classes short of a degree.
That's right. I
Yeah.
need
So
So
like
he
2
did
more.
the reverse. He went all the way where it's like, all right, you got
Over 20 years.
Okay.
one class
That's
to
worse.
go, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Well, I mean, at
That's
that time,
worse.
I got hired full time at the church, and started preaching. And
It was
one of
like
these
a
days, I'm gonna
couple-
go back and tie that up.
Well, I'm trying to tell you why I'm reading you that verse because when I was on the campus, that was part of my presentation. They were like, "Do you go into class?" I was like, "No," because if you can't figure out how to get your mistakes forgiven or get your body out of the ground, that's just stupid. If
I
somebody's
know.
giving you an answer,
But now I'm gonna say this: that's the most important. But if you paid money and you started, why not finish?
because I didn't care about money at that point in my life.
Who
Not
paid?
that I
You
really
paid,
care
Kay?
now.
Yeah, I paid. I had no money, but I borrowed it from Friendly Finance, probably.
At 19% interest.
She paid
Yeah.
25%
Way to go,
interest for
Kay.
you to not finish.
Way
Way
the
to make a
Really?
good investment there.
I have a really disturbing question. Did you ever pay that off?
I did.
Okay, well, great.
I did.
She
Somebody
traded.
did.
She
I probably did.
Look, don't worry. Don't worry. She traded Dad's
I
wedding
might
ring
have
for.
bought.
She traded Dad's wedding ring for. You're all good now. So it's
I bought
Hawk that
groceries.
thing.
And besides, when Willie made money, I borrowed from him.
Thank you.
well,
Yeah, I
look,
knew that.
we're all godly. We're all been successful. We'll give him the praise. Willie, to give him credit, he is the only one with a legitimate, real college
a
degree
legitimate-
out of
And
your 4
Daddy-
sons.
Daddy had
Well,
a
Phil-
master's.
And Dad has a
I
master's.
don't put a whole lot of stock in the college degree. I'm just saying.
Oh, I tell people,
You
yeah,
need to
now.
look at my degree because I have a non-certified PE degree. Booyah.
That's what I mean.
And Willie has really used that PE degree to full force in his
Basically,
success.
let
rate.
yourself go. So I don't.
Now, I
get
read
your
a
point.
statistic that if you graduate college, your children are way more likely to graduate college. And I was like, well, I can finish this. So I knocked it out and got it. And Phil had a degree and I had mine. And so,
I had 2 degrees.
and Phil has 2. Thank you. And so,
But he said said when I was commercial fishing, I thought, now what good is this college degree doing me? That's what he said. But then when he went later in life and started speaking, than it did.
Then it
because
helped?
yes.
I tell you what a college degree does. It helps you to finish tasks. And so I've hired a bunch of people who have not had degrees and had degrees. Most of the time, the people who have the college degree are better at finishing a task because they had to finish task after task after task.
And I've always thought it helps you from all my years in college to work a system, which, does help you in the long run, the idea about business and everything else, because you learn how to navigate. Of course, you don't learn everything they're trying to put into you in the moment, all the facts, but you learn how to navigate and get through, So,
Noah Webster, education is useless without the Bible.
There you go.
But I did go to that Bible school, and I will admit that did help me.
Yes, it did.
Which I
And
obviously.
And Willie went
See,
for a
that
year
finished
too.
you helping task. That's what I'm saying.
That's
you got
right.
to finish
I did it.
task.
Which is what's weird is I went there because I was in love with a girl. So.
Why did you go? Why did you go?
Who I married.
to learn.
She is my wife. So,
Trying to learn the Bible.
so I won. Win.
I was just trying to learn the Bible.
I
Maybe
never
it's
knew
better.
that, Jase. I thought the whole time you went just to learn the Bible.
I didn't.
We
No.
just learned something
Because
new.
he
on the
loved a
other-
woman who wasn't there.
Who wasn't there.
She wasn't there,
She
but
wasn't
she
one of
was
the
going to
students.
go to a Christian college, and I didn't want to go to college. But
I
they
didn't
said
either.
since it was a Christian college, if you go to the Bible school, which is local, you can transfer there and be a junior. And I thought, well, I'll go there for 2 years if I have to, because I wasn't sure what she was going to, do.
Oh,
She
then
was
you were
like,
thinking about transferring to college?
I was going to if she didn't stay here.
Well, I
so-
Let me tell
probably
you, too,
wouldn't
that
have
would have
had
been a
the money for
mistake
that.
because no matter what they told you, none of that stuff transferred. 'Cause
That's
I
what
did
they told me.
transfer to a Christian college. So all those 80 Bible hours I had, and I went to a Christian college, they wouldn't accept any of them.
Until
It's
20
Well,
years,
see,
until
infuriating.
20
That's
years
what I
later, a
did.
new law in Texas, because mine did. So I wound up getting a bachelor's in ministry.
So that was the plan
But it
B.
took
Look.
20 years for it to happen.
So you got some kind of bootleg.
I did.
figured out he gamed the system.
I gamed it. I took 2 courses online and then wound up
Yeah,
getting
that-
my
So you
degree.
have a degree.
I have a
figured it out.
degree.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, not- you have-
technically,
you
I
have
have
that
a
degree.
My
2-year
Bible
degree.
I
degree
get the-
translated into
Yeah.
a bachelor's, which could
But
put me in any
You gotta-
master's program.
But you got to remember too, we did
that degree's BS. I'm gonna tell you
the
that. right
classes
now. That's a
that we-
BS degree.
the classes we took were. Some of them were like regular. Remember, we took English.
Oh, yeah. Greek,
grammar, and
Well,
Hebrew.
hang on. What we did at the seminary,
Yeah, as being a guy.
was way harder than anything I took in college.
Oh, I know. That's
Now,
what-
albeit it was a non-certified PE degree, but I mean that was really hard.
Intense.
When I got
That's
to
what I'm
college,
saying.
College was
'Cause we
easy,
went to
but
school every
college
day.
was not
Yeah.
that
I went to
difficult.
college and took golf in first day, but I was so
You didn't
I
go to
was
class.
so-
That didn't even count.
well.
He played golf.
Paid the money.
Oh.
I really
He
didn't
paid,
play
now he
golf.
said he paid the money.
Yeah.
I played
Kay
golf.
saying she paid the money.
But
She
she
borrowed
He
paid
the
didn't
the
pay.
money.
He was
but I
18
worked-
years old.
I worked it. Well, I worked for them for like 10 years for nothing. So I mean, it was like severance.
I think
pay.
we all did. I mean, I think
Who
we
did?
all worked
Raise
it.
your hand if
Raise
that
your
didn't happen
hand
to
if
you.
you got that first paycheck.
Well, she would say, when you
What
need
about
some
when
money.
you had to call? You had to hold the checks. Remember?
I held a month.
Then Willie lost half of his.
Well, what about the ones that you said hold it for this day, and then when I went that day and it bounced?
Well, you didn't hold it. I told you to hold it.
No, I held it to the day, and then it still bounced, and so I called and it still bounced, and you went,
Okay,
"Oh,
how
well, I'll
did you-
give you another one."
Hey, how did you run that business with that D and typing and shorthand? And then ran
made
this
up my own
giant business.
shorthand.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
It's
so
50
what-
minutes.
I
I'm glad
went-
I quoted that one verse.
You got the one verse. So look, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Willie, for being on our year-end special. I don't think I've laughed this hard since the last time Willie was on. But we'll be back next year.
Well, I've got to tell you, you have to honor your mom and dad.
That's Ephesians.
Are you telling
we have
us or
two
the
verses?
Is that the audience or is that Jay's? Is that
Think
the?
That's
That's-
my boys and everybody.
Always remember that I've told you. If you quote a verse, I'm always going to agree with you.
I know. And you'll remember my birthday, won't you?
I did.
You came in. You're bitter about that, Kay. You came over to my house on your birthday.
Well, I thought that might help.
You're like, why haven't you called? I'm like, well,
Because you just walked in.
You're here. It's in the
And
middle of the
Willie
day.
got the days mixed up.
No, I called you actually this morning hoping you got the days mixed up. I
Which
knew I
coulda-
was tardy, but I thought you may not. I didn't know what point of your mental state you would be in, and I was hoping you would think it was your birthday, but no.
Well, I do get the days mixed up.
We know. But that was my fault.
Alan remembered on time.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
you
was
came
out of town
over
when I
at
called.
noon. I'm saying on your birthday. That is not enough time.
Mom's the only person that does a birthday tour on her birthday.
She came
I
in.
know. Why
everybody's
didn't you
out.
come out of my house? That would have made it a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
easier.
I was coming to your house, and then we ran out of time. I had to go eat.
For what?
I kid you
had to
not.
go
Look,
She had to go eat.
she came into my house and said, "Did you forget my birthday?" I was like, "It's noon."
Like he's going to remember days. Please.
He and I live 100 yards apart, and somehow you ran out of time at noon
To go eat.
to go eat.
But she couldn't cross that last
No.
100
You
yards.
can just walk over in the yard.
Look, here's the deal. That somebody said that Corey left, and I had a lunch engagement for my birthday.
Y'all just need to fade out of this. Just fade out.
At some
Pick a
point,
point
we just
and
have
just
to end
fade
it.
out, and
So,
we'll
hey,
continue.
thanks to all the listeners. Thanks for a great year. We look forward to you guys next
And
year.
I may win.
There's a chance.
There's
We'll
always a
tell you
chance.
next year, or you guys will tell
We
me next
faded
year.
out a long time ago.
Oh man, good job, Kay.
So I know you've heard that a lot of YouTube censors or a lot of conservatives and Christians are really not getting a fair shake. And so we've been hearing that, our podcast has been buried. We'll hear this across a lot of conservative platforms. So we want you to help us out. First of all, you need to subscribe. So if you hadn't subscribed to Dad's YouTube channel, that's youtube.com/Phil Robertson on Blaze TV. That's a lot, but youtube.com/Phil Robertson on Blaze TV. That helps us to be able to cut through this ability to be able to cut us out. Second thing you can do is hit the notification bell icon. So you just hit that thing, you make sure that YouTube will show you every episode. And you can control that, so we ask you to do that. Finally, hit the thumbs up on all of our YouTube videos. That tells people that you love the podcast. We know that a lot of you do love the podcast, so just take that extra second to get that bell, to get that thumbs up, so we can try to get it out there as much as possible.